Hi guys, I'm gonna break down the butterfly pull-up, just kind of the same way I did with the bar muscle-ups and the ring muscle-ups. Just kind of throw everything, all the pointers I have in one video so you guys can go back and watch that. Might be a little bit random thoughts here and there, but just want to put it all in one video. So first off, I want to break down the movement that we're looking at as far as the kipping pull-up. So your traditional kipping pull-up, this is going to be a side view. Here's the pull-up bar. On our traditional kipping pull-up, our head or our shoulders are going to move through our shoulders at the first part of the movement, and then we're going to come out and around, chin up on top of the pull-up bar. We're going to push ourselves away from the bar, head and shoulders come back through, and you push yourself out and around. So really in this movement, through, come out and on top of the bar, push yourselves around, all the way back through again. So just to show the difference with the butterfly, here's the pull-up bar. We're going to start off that movement by moving our head and our shoulders through, but then when we come out and around, we're going to actually gain the height of the pull-up at the very back of this movement here, or else if we tried to come back through, we'd knock our teeth out as we're going to fall through. So I'm going to gain that height at the back of the movement here, and then I'm going to fall through, and then cycle back through, and more of that cyclical movement. So just kind of wanted to show the pattern that I'm picturing as I'm moving through that butterfly pull-up. We'll talk a little bit about the differences between the chest to bar and just normal butterfly pull-ups. Just kind of wanted to go over the basics of what the movement's going to actually look like from the side view. All right, I wanted to come over the pull-up bar and show you guys a little bit of what I teach when I first show people how to start working on the butterfly pull-ups. So first off, I want to talk about hand width. Most people are going to be probably an inch or two wider than they would traditionally be for a normal kipping pull-up. I think it just helps people get that a little bit more shoulder flexibility, going a little bit wider there. Other thing is, I don't personally wrap my thumbs when I do it. I've tried wrapping my thumbs a lot. Doesn't feel a whole lot different to me, but I traditionally tear my hands a lot more when I do wrap my thumbs. So I usually don't. So just kind of my personal preference. When I'm getting up to the pull-up bar, my first movement when I'm on here is going to be the same movement that I do when I start off a kipping pull-up. So I'm going to allow my head to come through my shoulders here and make that reverse C position. As I come back, I'm getting myself back here. If on a normal kipping pull-up, that's when I would actually think about pulling my chin up to the bar. When I'm doing the butterfly pull-up, that's when I'm going to get the height at the back of that pull-up, and then I need to actually think about slipping through, allowing my shoulders and my head to come through my arms as I reach my legs back behind me. So I always kind of joke that it's a little bit of the feeling of rubbing your belly and patting your head at the same time. Feels really awkward to you if you've been practicing the kipping pull-up, but it's just kind of a movement that you need to get the feel for. So one thing real quick is, especially on these butterfly pull-ups, I need to think about staying fully engaged in my lats throughout the entire movement. Anytime we hang from the pull-up bar or the rings, it's really important to stay engaged with our shoulders, but especially when we do these butterfly pull-ups, because we come through with quite a bit of force. When we come through there, if we don't stay active there, it's really easy to tweak things in your shoulders. I know from experience, just better to stay safe than sorry. So just make sure you stay really active on your shoulder movement there. So when I first show people, I like to tell them not to worry necessarily about getting the height on the pull-up. We're just going to try and work on that movement. We can work on getting our chin up higher and higher, and then eventually our chest up higher and higher as well. So first thing I want to think about is being extremely mechanical and controlling that movement with my upper body. I'm going to allow my head and my shoulders to come through, and then I'm basically at the back of that movement, like I said, I'm just going to get over that hitch in my arms as I think about pulling my legs back behind me. So easier said than done if you haven't done it before, but as I come back, pull my head through, legs come back behind me. So as you can see there, when I get to the back of that movement and I'm extended out this way is when I'm going to start pull up a little bit, but that at the same time, I'm going to think about pulling my hip back underneath me so that when I reach that full extension falling through, it automatically wants to shoot me right back up into that next movement. So when I show the next clip, it'll be a little bit easier to see what I'm talking about when I put it down in slow-mo. Just kind of want to show that's the progression that I show. So I want to make sure that I can keep myself in control at a really low height. Pull myself through, legs back behind me. Pull my legs through, legs back behind me, and then I'm going to eventually work up to higher heights. So kind of wanted to show a little bit of a analogy that I think about, once again, with almost like that antenna on the front of your car and creating tension with my spine and that hip movement. So I think a PVC pipe is a pretty good way to explain that. So PVC pipe, when I'm coming up for that pull-up, I'm loading up tension in my lower back and the back of my legs staying up there when I come up to the bar. But then when I slide through, I'm bringing out my legs back behind me, and then I'm going to release that tension as I come back this direction, load that tension back up as I'm coming through, release my hip tension again. So I think once again when I show that next clip, it'll be a little bit easier to see what I'm talking about as far as that hip movement of me popping and extending, coming all the way back, and then coming back through there. One of the other things I think I wanted to talk about was an analogy I like to give of people a lot of times like to think about pulling their heels too far back to their butt. I think that does more harm than good a lot of times. I personally like to envision that I've got this 8-inch box right underneath me. When I come back through, I'm literally picturing when I come through that I'm trying to reach back, grab this 8 or 12-inch box and slide that box all the way out in front of me. So literally like I'm reaching back, sliding it out in front of me, reaching back, grabbing it again, sliding it out in front of me. So it's all in that hip movement. A lot of times if you think about pulling your heel up, you don't actually get that hip fully extended. So the higher we start getting, you're gonna start to pull your heels up naturally a little bit higher, but just really think about that hip movement of opening back and then sliding out in front of you. So on the chest to bar pull-ups, like I said, once again, you're gonna start to pull your heel up a little bit more, but I still think about that hip movement more than anything else.
So here's the clip that I had talked to you guys about before. I'm just going to show it in fast motion so you can see the reps before. These are chest to bar, so they're slightly different than just the regular butterfly pull-ups, but not much. Alright, so now I'm going to break it down in slow motion and kind of go over some of those pointers that I had talked about. So when I first hop up to the bar, I'm going to get myself into the same movement that I would if I was going to start off just doing regular kipping pull-ups, where I'm going to allow myself into that reverse C position, head through my shoulders. As you can see, I'm already creating that nice bow in my lower back and my legs, creating all that tension here. And then I'm going to move into, so you can see that movement in the back as I lay out, think about driving that box all the way out in front of me with that kick. Once I get up, I'm trying to get the height of the back of the bar. One thing you will think about on normal butterfly pull-ups, I think about lifting my chin up just because you gain height by a couple inches versus keeping your head in a neutral position when you're doing chest to bar pull-ups. Obviously that's not as important because the important part is actually making contact with your chest. So on the chest to bar, I personally think about almost looking down at my toes, like I'm trying to find my toes so that I can spot when my chest is going to flick the bar. So you got small room for error on the chest to bar. You pull slightly too hard, you'll thud your chest and fall down. If you don't pull hard enough, you obviously miss the bar and the rep doesn't count. So as I come through on that rep, that's when I'm starting to think about pulling my legs back behind me so that when I fall under the bar, my hips get opened up again, like I was talking about that car antenna, loading up that tension. I am pulling my heels back pretty far. Like I was pointing out before, the higher you're trying to get on your reps, if you're doing chest to bar pull-ups, the more you'll naturally start to just pull your heels up. So I'm really not thinking about pulling my heels to my butt though. I'm really thinking about opening up my hips so that when I come through, they'll close again and basically just recycle back through that movement. So I'll just cycle through these last few reps. Those are all the things I really think about when I'm doing these reps. Basically getting that hip movement, trying to control that movement with my upper body as much as I can, forcing that movement where I want it to go, reaching back, grabbing that box, sliding it out in front of me, laying all the way out in the back position. So once you get that movement down a little bit, like I said before, just start to slowly work your way up, getting that height a little bit higher and a little bit higher while you're still in control. The thing is, it gets really easy to make little errors that throw you way out of whack, and then you really just got to bring it back down to where you can keep it in control again. So I hope this video helped a little bit break it down what I'm thinking about when I do the butterfly pull-ups. It really just takes a lot of practice so that your body starts to make adjustments without you really having to think about it. So initially it's a very awkward movement though. The thing is, one other last thing I'll throw in there is that you really don't think about moving through the movement fast. I know butterflies look a lot faster than kipping pull-ups, but it's just because your range of motion that you're doing is probably 2/3 as a kipping pull-up, where it's that out and around motion on a kipping pull-up. The butterfly pull-up is a lot more cyclical, so that you're not actually traveling as far, but the entire thing feels like you're slowing down the movement. So just stay patient and keep chipping away at them. All right.